Yum, yum!
Alright, Pixel Gangsters. So I'm going to go ahead and start off in the annotation tab, which is where you need to be to put in your TechPack information. And I'm going to go ahead and start with the main fabric and put in the part number. So basically that would be like the pattern piece information. There's not really a standard, like you could structure it differently to your needs. You would typically put in the factory that's producing the fabric because it's probably different than the factory that's producing the garment. And I don't know, it depends on your product. Again, it could be different. And maybe the status, it would be good to track it. So for example, maybe I want to see a sample, but the fabric is still not available, still in development for some reason. So as you can see, I may have a specific image or an idea for what the fabric is, or maybe details. And it could be something that I have drawn up technically, it could be the developer has an idea and has done a technical drawing on it, or it could be something that I've seen on the web, like here. So I would do the same thing for any trims or embroideries and logos and yeah, basically workmanships as well. So in this case, I'm just going to put in the information for the stitching, and it would be the same thing, same logic that I would follow, where I would take the part number, basically pattern piece. It could be, you could use the numbers here that you see, like 1, 2, 3. These could be your part numbering if you want to reference it. There's, again, no real standard to it. You just do what makes sense to you and whoever you're working with. And yeah, again, you can add in a link to a technical drawing or something specific maybe your developer has in mind. Sometimes you may have a similar kind of stitching. Maybe you don't have to like put in the same information again. You could copy and paste it, but if you want to avoid that, then you could just, make a reference to the annotation that you had all the information in and just say something like, I'm just using one line of stitching here instead of two. Yeah, so you could just refer back to, in this case, we're referring back to the 4th call out. Another thing is that you don't have to keep the same angles, so you could change at any time the view, like the thumbnails of your annotations. So just go ahead and navigate to how you want the thumbnail to look like, and when you're set, you just click on the little camera icon and you create a new view. So for things like graphics and logos and all kinds of artworks, it's important that you link in your actual file. So like your Illustrator or so on, so that they could use the vector drawings, and also it's kind of usually automatically linked to the printers that they would use, and then also they could put out the color information. Pull out the color information. You would typically need to put in information also like the size of the graphic that you need, and also like where it's positioned. So unfortunately, you can't put a call out or an annotation out in the surrounding area of the garment or your product for things like labels and packages or other kinds of information that's for the garment in general and not just like specific detail. Again, so you would need to link the original CAD file because it's more engineer based for things like the pattern. You could also actually add in a link to for example, maybe like the fabric positioning on the pattern pieces or how the graphics are done. Okay, so now you can see I'm done almost and everything's linked. My pattern's in there. Let's see in full screen. These are my stitching. And the cool thing is, as you've noticed, I just clicked on the packaging information and it was in the back, but it's still highlighted and you could still click it. So really the navigation around is just pretty funky. So everything's set. All right, looking cool. I can go to my graphics, and in here, my artwork. Great. You could also add in things like colors. So if you have a seasonal color palette, don't forget to put that in as well, or like a certain swatch that you need. You definitely need that when you're doing your colorways or so. Another cool thing is that you could access it via VR. I think that was pretty funky. I tried a previous asset that I had created. I tried to access it when we were in SIGGRAPH because SKETCHFAB had a booth there, and it was really cool. I think something like that would be really funky, especially like at factories. I think it's such a cool idea to kind of look like a retard and walk around with a headset. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty dope. All right, well, hope that was a kind of a cool thing to show. If not, then who cares? So what?